All right, welcome to my channel. And my name's Dan Lucier. I am a real estate agent here on the Connecticut shoreline for over 10 years. And I wanted to do a video specifically for buyers. It's a very complicated, long process sometimes for some, especially first-time home buyers or buyers who have not been in the market for a very long time. This video is going to be broken down into chapters, so you'll be able to skip ahead to the parts that are most important to you throughout the process. I do have my notepad here to keep me on track. This is off the cuff, no script. This is just me explaining how the buying of a residential real estate in Connecticut happens. So let's get into it. Congratulations. You decided, I want to buy a home. I want to be a homeowner. One of your first steps is going to be interview agents. Yes, I'm not saying pick me or pick any specific person. Even if you have somebody that you know, my advice personally is to interview a few agents, because there's going to be different things that some agents do. You're going to get along with somebody, you're not going to get along with somebody. And when I start, for me, my first thing is a buyer consultation. Now, these consultations are generally over Zoom, or they can be at a coffee shop or a home, wherever, but we need to do a buyer consultation, and it's for a few reasons. Number one, doing the buyer consultation, it's going to give me or the agent a look into what you're trying to do. Why are you trying to move? What is your time frame? What are we looking for? Are we looking for condo, residential? These are important things that your agent needs to know to be able to best serve you. Now, before I do my buyer consultations, now this whole process is usually what I do. Other agents may be a little different. I send out a seller intake form, getting it filled out before our consultation, and it looks like this right here. So you can see the buyer intake form, and it just basically has, information on you, whoever you're buying with. If you're buying with somebody, your buying goals, financial and preparedness, because this is all things that are super important. Location preferences, basically all your wish list of what you're looking for. Because the first thing that we're going to need to do is get you a pre-approval. Now, when it comes to pre-approvals, I have a vendor list that I go through if you do not have a lender yet. The vendor list that I will send you will have 3 lenders to choose from. You call them, whichever one works for you is fine by me. The reason I do this is because the lenders that I have, I don't get anything from them except I know it's going to close and I know we're going to stay on time. And they're my trusted lenders that I have occurred over my 10-year career. I've been through quite a few different lenders, and a lender can make or break a deal. Very important. So we're going to do the intake form. We're going to call the lender, find out, because we need to know how much you can afford. And then we're going to do the buyer consultation. During the consultation, I'm going to take you through the MLS and my process. We're using AI, my website, and the MLS together, and we're going to actually build out a search system so you are top of mind. You're going to get the properties as soon as they hit the market and keep you in front of all of the things that are happening, because a lot of those websites, Zillow, Realtor.com, they can be behind on homes that you see as active, but they're actually under contract. So everything that I'm going to give to you is going to be something that is actually on the market. So next, buyer broker. In the state of Connecticut, we are required to, in order to work with us, and show you homes and do all these things. And it's something I'll explain in our consult in further detail, but there is a buyer broker contract that needs to be filled out. Now, this can be filled out in a couple of different ways. You could do it per house. You can do it for a time frame. The time frame does not have to be anything specific. You could do it for a day. You could do it for a week, a month, a year, whatever you and your agent decide upon that could be the time frame. Now, you can do it per house. This is generally the way I do it. I do it before we enter any property. I got to get that signed for that property. I do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want to make sure that, we're happy with working with each other. That, you're happy with the way I'm presenting things. And it just seems to be a good relationship. After a couple of houses, we can do something where we have a time frame, a certain area. If you're only looking in New Haven County, or you want to do the whole state of Connecticut, these are things that are negotiable, and we're going to talk about during the buyer consult. And I will go over all of that in the consultation. I'll go over all the paperwork. Now, commission. Commission is paid by the buyer, so you would be responsible for the commission of the buyer agent. This number, whatever that price may be, is between you and the agent. It is 100% negotiable, and this is a conversation that you're going to have after you see, what does your agent provide in value? What is he or she going to be doing for you? This compensation will be owed at closing. I do not charge a retainer. Some agents may. I can't speak for them, but for me personally, I do not do a retainer at this time. However, whatever we agree on for that buyer broker commission, generally, most of the time, when we want to go see a property, I can reach out on your behalf to the listing agent and see if the seller is offering a buyer broker fee or buyer broker payment. Most of the time, they are. It's just a matter of making a phone call. Otherwise, and if there is a difference where you wrote in your contract a certain number, but the seller is only offering a particular percentage. If there's a difference, that is between you and your agent to discuss. Either you have to come up with that extra, or the agent, it can be negotiated in the entire contract as a package. So that is how the commission works. So don't think that I have to definitely come out of pocket with that. Most of the sellers that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, from a buyer's agent perspective, have been getting paid still by the seller. So don't let that be a deterrent. You can still do this. All right. Next, let's just go over real quick. So we're going to do the buyer intake form, the buyer consultation, the pre-approval, or actually we're going to do the pre-approval before the consultation, either or, but we're going to get that pre-approval done up front. So now we're looking at homes. Your agent is going to schedule any homes that you want to see. We could either do one at a time, or what I like to do is go pick out 4, 5, 6, even though in this market lately there doesn't seem to be that many. Pick out a few. Let's go take a look. If there's a home that interests you and you want to make an offer on this particular property, this is where you're going to have a discussion with your agent. You're going to sit down, look at comparables, figure out, okay, how much is this home worth? Is it priced right? Is it priced too high? Is there multiple offers? There is a lot that goes into that. And in the buyer consultation, I break down exactly the different strategies that I use to help my clients get and win properties. So with that being said, your agent would write up the offer, and this offer is going to go to your inbox for a digital signature. You look it over, have it reviewed, whatever you want to do, get it signed, get it back to the agent. Now the agent generally, and I'm speaking for me again, before I write any offer, I always call the seller, the listing agent, to see, is there anything above or outside of the price that we can offer? Because sometimes, time frames, you can wait a few months, or that's very important to the seller. These are things that we need to know to make the best possible offer. Communication. We're going to be communicating a lot. Communication is key in having everybody on board. So once the offer is put in, it's in writing. Generally, we send it over to the listing agent. They submit it to their client. They're going to accept it, they're going to counter it, or they're going to reject it. In the event that they accept it, great, they'll sign it. We move on to the next step. If they counter, generally a counter will be in a verbal or a text message or an email. And then I'm going to come back to you and say, okay, here's their counter. And this is where we're going to go back and forth until we have an agreement. Once we have the agreement, great. We get the contract signed as soon as possible, because as long as that contract is not signed yet, you, the buyer, are vulnerable until it is completely executed. The next couple of steps are going to be different for residential single family and residential condominium. And I'm going to go through both and explain what the difference is. All right, so great. You won your offer. Excellent. What is the very next step? Very next step is you are going to get a list or a few inspectors that you're going to call for your inspection. You may have somebody you already want to use. Great, no problem. If not, I certainly have trusted investors or inspectors that I can refer to you. So you're going to call those inspectors. We're going to schedule the inspection. You're going to let me know, okay, it's on this day at this time. I will reach out to the listing agent and get that inspection set up with them to make sure it's all working together. And I do need to step back a little bit. Once the contract is ratified and executed, you are going to be required, whatever you put for an escrow amount, say it's a $5,000 escrow, that check needs to be written out and mailed to either the attorney of the seller or the listing agent's company, the broker, within 36 hours. So we need to get that check written out and sent over to the attorney or the broker right away. That is a must and needs to be done. Then we get to the inspection. So during the inspection, you are going to have the opportunity to come to the inspection. I highly encourage you to go to the inspection. You will learn so much about the property that you're buying. You can follow the most inspectors do not mind if you follow them around, ask questions. Me, as the buyer agent, I always go to the inspections to represent you. If you cannot make it, that is okay. I will be there because the inspector is going to give you a full report on everything and all the findings. And spoiler alert, guaranteed, they're going to find something. You are paying them to find problems at the end of the day. They're going to find problems. I have yet, in over the 10 years I've been doing this, I've never seen a house that's perfect. Ever. Ever. So just keep in mind, a lot of problems can be solved very quickly. There may be things that you may want to go back to the seller and say, hey, this is a safety concern or this is a concern of mine. I want to get it repaired. And in my experience, usually that negotiation can be taken care of and we can move past it and move along unless the house is falling down and you're like, no, heck no, I'm out of here, which you have the opportunity to do. This inspection needs to be done within a certain time frame, which will be on the contract, and your agent will tell you what that time frame is. Because for me, every time we do a contract, all of those dates are put into my calendar. So once those dates are in there, you're going to have between 7 and 14 days. Sometimes it's negotiable, so you can figure out between you and the seller how many days you want to have. Now, you need to get those inspections done and your repair list or your requests to the listing agent before that time's up. If you go past that contingency, you're shit out of luck, generally. You don't want to do that. Stay within that parameter. Know that parameter. What I usually do is I will send email reminders to my clients to remind them, hey, we got to get this done. We're coming up on the contingency date. If we need more time, we could always ask for an extension, which is usually, most of the time it's granted depending on the seller. So you can do that and it's not a problem. So we get through inspections. You needed a couple of things taken care of. Great. We negotiate back and forth. It could either be a credit. You could have them repair it. Whatever you choose to do. Once all the inspections are done, we're signed off. What's the next thing? You are going to go look for homeowners insurance. This is something you want to do as soon as you know you're moving forward. And here's the reason why. The way homeowners insurance works is the later you wait, the more you're going to wind up paying. Yes, you heard that right. So homeowners insurance is super important, and I am on top of that when I talk to my clients. I will let them know, hey, it looks like we're going to be moving forward. Call the insurance company, start getting your quotes together, and lock in your homeowners insurance because it is super important to have that ready to go and be active on your closing day. Now, typical closings, 30 to 45 days. If you're getting a loan, it could be as little as 8 days if you are paying cash in the state of Connecticut. So, what's the next step? Condos. Condominiums, once you're past the inspections, the seller is going to order what's called a condo packet. Condo packet is everything you need to know about that condo association. How much money do they have in reserves? What projects they're working on? The rules, the regulations. You are going to have 5 days to review. Sometimes this is a very large document, and you're going to want to review this. You're going to have that 5-day period to review all of these documents. And if there's something in there that doesn't jive, or even with the inspection, any of these contingencies is your time to be able to say, look, too much is going on. I don't like this rule. I don't like that inspection. I'm out. And the contract says, you can terminate and you are not in breach of contract, but you need to stay within the parameters of your dates. So you get your condo docs, you read them through, you're happy with them, you sign off, I'm good, we're moving on. What's the next thing that happens? Your lender is going to order an appraisal. Now, this is coming from a third-party appraisal company that has nothing to do with you, me, or the seller, nobody. Their sole job is to come out and appraise the property to make sure for the bank that the property is worth what the bank is giving you the money for. Okay? So if the appraisal comes in at your purchase price, you're good to go. Moving forward, however, if that appraisal comes in low, so say your purchase price is $400,000 and the appraisal comes in at $350,000, you have a few options. Number one, we can argue it and say, hey, we want another appraisal, which generally you may or may not want to do, depending on the circumstances. This is where, when your agent did the comps earlier, we made sure you're not overpaying. Now, if that appraisal comes in low, we can argue it and say we want another appraisal, see if the lender will do it, see if they'll handle that. I have done this before, and second appraisal came back, same exact as the first appraisal. Is it worth it? It depends. That's all I'm going to say is it depends. Your next option is ask the buyer to adjust the price. That's going to be option 2. Mr. Buyer, appraisal says it's worth $350. We want $400. We want you to lower the price to $350. That's option 2. Option 3, you go back and the seller says you got to come up with the rest that difference in money. So $400, appraisal's here. You, the buyer, need to come up with another $50,000 to fill that gap. Again, these are all negotiations that happen between you and your agent and the seller. Final option, you guys split it. You cough up $25,000. The seller drops the price by $25,000. There's your $50,000 difference, and we move forward. What's after that? It is time to sit back and wait for the closing. No, there's still work to be done. So before we close, about a week or so out. Now, in between, your lender's going to be asking you for all this paperwork. And I do need to stress this because I tell my clients this throughout the entire process. Once you're under contract, no looking at your credit. No going out and buying a new car. No going out and going furniture shopping at Rainmore and Flanagan. You cannot touch your credit at all. It's never happened to me, but I have seen other buyers who are all excited. They're getting ready to close a couple days before closing. They go open up a new credit card at Rainmore and Flanagan, or they go buy a brand new car. No house. The bank is going to check your credit the day of closing, and if they see any new accounts open, it's going to throw all your numbers off, and they do have the right to say, no deal. That's it. You're done. And you have a lot at risk right now. You have money out for inspections, money in escrow that's being held that the seller may or may not fight for, all your time invested. It's a huge deal. So stay away from your credit while you're in this process. The day after you close, you can do whatever you want. So you're gonna get an email from me again about a week before, 2 weeks before, from us. It's a concierge service that we offer that's going to help you get all your utilities lined up. Your electric, your gas if there's gas, the water and the sewer in Connecticut are generally handled by the attorney. Those are 2 you do not have to worry about. Those will all be handled at the closing from the attorneys. If there's oil, the oil that's in the tank at the time of closing, you are going to have to pay for. So as the buyer, if the tank is half full, you're going to have to cut a check for whatever that fuel costs, market value, the day of closing. Okay? That's part of your closing. That's going to be part of your closing costs. What else? Basically, that's it. And then we come to the day of closing. You know when your closing date is. Everybody's happy. Everything's going great. And we're going to get to that closing table. Now, one rule that I have is we always do a final walkthrough. And I've had so many different scenarios. I've had from great scenarios to, we got problems. We gotta do something. Your final walkthrough is going to be done about an hour before your closing, if possible, on the same day. Or if your closing is really early in the morning, we could always do the final walkthrough the night before. Final walkthrough, the reason for this is a few. Number one, is the house still standing? Is there any damage that was not expected? Are all the things that were agreed upon in the contract left at the property? Is the property clean? Is it broom swept? Basically, is everything in order in the way that the contract has been read and that you understand and you're happy with? If there is a problem, this is the time that we need to take care of it, because once you sign all those documents and once you close, there is very little me or the attorney or anybody can do about it. If they were supposed to leave the fridge and the fridge is missing and you don't say anything or we don't notice it, there's nothing we can do. You sign the papers that we're good. Final walkthrough, super important. I will be at those final walkthroughs with you and we make sure everything is good. I usually will take some photos to document anything if there is a problem. What we're going to do is we're going to take photos, we're going to note the problem, and when we get to the attorneys that I generally use, they will always ask as soon as we walk in the door, how did the final walkthrough go? This is where our chance to say, hey, they were supposed to leave that refrigerator, or that refrigerator's not working. What the heck? Now it's in the attorney's hands. They are going to call the other attorney, and that's when another round of negotiations will start, whether the seller offers a credit or they say, no, it was this way. We'll get it all sorted out. Generally speaking, it's usually miscommunication, which we try very hard not to do. So once that's all set, you sign your papers, your documents, your loan, any of that stuff, and you get your keys. Now, some sellers won't let you on the property until the funds have cleared their attorney's account. This is normal. Yes, I'm going to hand you your keys most likely at the closing table once you sign. Celebrate. Yes, you got your home. But some sellers will say specifically, I don't want them in the house until the money has hit my account. It's a wire transfer from your attorney, because your attorney gets the money from the bank, to the seller's attorney. Generally, that goes pretty smooth. However, I have seen sellers dig their heels in, and if the money's not there by the end of the day, they say, no way, you're not going in that house till the money hits my attorney's account. It's not common. Does happen, though, so just wanted to put out there. I really hope this video helps in your buying process if you're just starting out. It's a great video to watch to see kind of the process. And please refer back to it whenever what did he say about inspections? How long do we have? How long is the buyer broker for? Go back. Look in the video, and any questions you have, put them down below. If you like the way I explained it, let me know. Any questions, feel free to contact me. My contact info is in the description below, and I would be happy to help. Happy house hunting, and talk to you again on the next one.